The massive alien ship floated in the dark space between stars. Its black metal hull stretched for miles, covered with strange blue lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Inside the ship, 5 different types of aliens sat around a circular table, made of crystal. The room was cold and silent except for the soft hum of machines. Admiral Crixthal stood at the head of the table. He was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. His large black eyes moved from one face to another as he spoke. "Today we decide the fate of the humans," he said in a voice that sounded like grinding metal. The other aliens at the table represented the most powerful races in the galaxy. There was General Morvac, a huge creature with thick red skin and tusks like an elephant. His people were known for their weapons that could destroy entire planets. Next to him sat Veltari Prime, a being made of living crystal that sparkled with inner light. The Veltari were the smartest race in the galaxy and built computers that could think faster than any living mind. Across from them was Queen Hraktal, who looked like a giant ant with 6 legs and sharp claws. Her insect people bred soldiers, by the millions, and could swarm across whole star systems. At the far end sat Nexari 1, a creature of pure energy that had no solid body at all. It appeared as a floating ball of white light that spoke directly into their minds. "The humans have become too dangerous," Crixthal continued. 3 years ago they were nothing, a small race that could barely travel between their own planets. Now they spread across our galaxy like a disease. General Morvac slammed his huge fist on the table. "They take our worlds. They steal our trade routes. Every month they grow stronger while we grow weaker." Veltari Prime's crystal body flashed with different colors as it spoke. "My calculations show that in 50 years, the humans will be the strongest force in the galaxy. In 100 years, they will rule over all of us." Queen Hraktal clicked her claws together. "My scouts report human colonies on 200 worlds now. They breed faster than we thought possible. Each world they take makes them harder to stop." Nexari 1's voice filled their minds like thunder. "The humans are different from other races. They do not give up. They do not break. When we destroy one of their ships, they build 10 more. When we kill their soldiers, their families join the fight." Crixthal nodded slowly. "This is why we must act now. Not in 10 years. Not in 5 years. Now." He pressed a button and the lights dimmed. Above the table, a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy appeared, showing thousands of stars and planets. Red dots marked the locations of human colonies. There were so many that they looked like a spreading infection across the star map. Blue dots showed the worlds controlled by the 5 alien races. For the first time in galactic history, the red dots were starting to outnumber the blue ones. "Look at this," Crixthal said, pointing to a cluster of red dots near the center of the map. 3 years ago, humans controlled 12 worlds. Today, they control 237. At this rate, they will control 1,000 worlds within 10 years. General Morvac stood up, his massive frame casting a shadow over the table. "Then we crush them before they get stronger. My people have weapons that can crack planets in half. We can destroy every human world in a single day." "No," said Veltari Prime. "That would be wasteful. It would also unite the other smaller races against us. They would see us as monsters who destroy entire civilizations." Queen Hraktal's antenna twitched. "The crystal being is right. We need to be smart about this. Make it look like an accident or a natural disaster." Nexari 1 pulsed brighter. "I have studied human psychology for many cycles. They have one great weakness that we can use against them." "What weakness?" asked Crixthal. "Love," replied the energy being. "Humans form emotional bonds stronger than any other race. They will sacrifice everything for their families, their friends, their home world. This love makes them fight harder, but it also makes them vulnerable." Crixthal's eyes gleamed. "Explain." Earth, said Nexari-1. Their birth world. Every human dreams of returning there someday. It is the center of their government, their culture, their identity. If we destroy Earth, we destroy their spirit. The remaining humans will scatter and hide. Without their homeworld to unite them, they will become weak and divided. The other aliens considered this carefully. Veltari Prime's crystals flickered as it ran calculations. The plan has merit. Humans have strong emotional connections to their origin point. Destroying Earth would cause massive psychological trauma throughout their population. General Morvac grinned, showing teeth like broken stone. I like this plan. One target instead of hundreds. My planet killers can turn Earth into dust in minutes. But we must be careful, warned Queen Raktal. Humans have many ships and weapons now. If we attack Earth directly, they will fight back hard. Many of us will die. Crixthal walked around the table, his 4 hands clasped behind his back. This is why we will use deception. We will make the humans think we are their friends. We will offer them trade deals and peace treaties. While they smile and shake our hands, we will position our fleets around their worlds. How long will this take? Asked General Morvac, who preferred direct action to complex plans. 1 year, replied Crixthal. Maybe 2. We must move slowly so they do not suspect anything. We will tell them we want to join together as allies against the wild pirates and raiders in the outer systems. Veltari Prime's crystal body pulsed with soft light. My computers can create false evidence of pirate attacks. We can make the humans believe they need our protection. Good, said Crixthal. While they trust us, we will study their defenses. We will learn the locations of their ships and weapons. When the time is right, we will strike at Earth and 12 other key worlds at the same time. Queen Raktal rubbed her claws together. My swarm fleets can be in position within months. The humans will never see us coming. What about their exploration ships? Asked General Morvac. The humans send scouts everywhere. They might discover our preparations. Crixthal smiled, an expression that would have terrified any human who saw it. Let them explore. Let them think they are safe. Their curiosity will be their downfall. By the time they realize what is happening, it will be too late. Nexari-1's light grew brighter. There is one ship we should watch carefully. The New Horizon, commanded by Captain Jake Morrison. This human has explored more space than any other. He has a reputation for being clever and hard to kill. One ship cannot stop our entire plan, said General Morvac with a laugh. Perhaps not, replied Nexari-1. But humans are unpredictable. It would be wise to eliminate Morrison before he can cause problems. Crixthal nodded. Agreed. We will arrange for the New Horizon to have an accident during their next exploration mission. A simple equipment failure in deep space. No one will suspect anything. The 5 aliens looked at the star map again. So many worlds, so many humans. Soon there would be none left. Are we all agreed then? Asked Crixthal. We destroy Earth and scatter the humans forever? One by one, the other aliens gave their consent. General Morvac pounded his fist on the table. Veltari Prime's crystals flashed bright white. Queen Raktal clicked her approval. Nexari-1 pulsed with deadly light. Then it is decided, said Crixthal. The age of humans ends soon, and the galaxy will belong to us once more. As the meeting ended, none of the aliens noticed something important. Deep in space, a small human ship was drifting silently near the edge of their sensor range. The ship looked dead, its engines cold and its lights dark. But inside, Dr. Amy Rodriguez was very much alive, and she had been listening to everything. 6 months had passed since the secret meeting. Across the galaxy, alien ships moved like shadows in the night. They traveled in small groups to avoid detection, taking long routes through empty space. Each ship carried weapons powerful enough to destroy cities, but they hid their true purpose behind false cargo manifests and fake trade documents. On the mining colony of Titan's Rest, Carl Johnson wiped sweat from his forehead as he climbed out of the deep excavation pit. The colony sat on a small moon at the edge of human space, far from the busy trade routes and patrol ships. Carl had been digging here for 15 years, pulling rare metals from the rocky ground to send back to Earth. Another day, another tunnel, he muttered to his crew as they gathered around the equipment shed. There were 12 miners on Titan's Rest, all tough men and women who had chosen this hard life for the good pay and the freedom it offered. Carl was about to head inside for dinner when his communicator beeped. The message was from his drill operator, Pete Collins, who was working the night shift in the deepest tunnel. "Boss, you need to see this," Pete's voice crackled through the speaker. "We hit something weird down here. Really weird." Carl grabbed his helmet and safety gear. "Weird how? Just come down. You won't believe it unless you see it yourself." 20 minutes later, Carl was riding the elevator down into the mine. The shaft was 2 miles deep, carved through solid rock over many years of hard work. As the elevator descended, the walls changed from gray stone to black rock to something else entirely. At the bottom, Pete was waiting with a lamp in his hand and a confused look on his face. "It's just ahead," he said, leading Carl through a narrow tunnel. "I was drilling the new section when my bit hit something that wasn't rock." They walked for 5 minutes before Pete stopped and pointed ahead. There. Carl looked and felt his mouth fall open. The tunnel opened into a huge underground chamber that stretched farther than his light could reach. But that wasn't the strange part. The strange part was what filled the chamber. Machines. Huge machines made of metal that gleamed like silver. They were built into the walls and floor, connected by pipes and cables that hummed with energy. Strange symbols were carved into every surface, glowing with soft blue light. "What the hell is this?" Carl whispered. Pete shook his head. "I have no idea, but look at this." He led Carl to the nearest machine. "I touched this panel here, and all these lights came on. The whole place started humming. It's like it was waiting for someone to find it." Carl examined the symbols on the machine. They looked almost familiar, like letters from an alphabet he should know but couldn't quite remember. "How big is this place?" "I don't know. I followed the wall for an hour and never found the end. There could be miles of this stuff down here." Carl felt a chill run down his spine. "We need to report this to Earth Command. This is way above our pay grade." 3 days later, Dr. Lisa Harper arrived on Titan's Rest aboard a research ship. She was a young archaeologist who specialized in studying ancient civilizations. Earth Command had sent her to investigate Carl's discovery, along with a team of scientists and engineers. Lisa spent her first day exploring the underground chamber with Carl as her guide. The more she saw, the more confused she became. The technology was clearly advanced, far beyond anything humans could build. But the symbols carved into the machines were troubling her for a different reason. "These markings," she said to Carl, as they stood before a large central console. "They're not completely alien. Some of them look like early human writing systems. Proto-Germanic, ancient Sanskrit, old Egyptian hieroglyphs, but that's impossible." Carl scratched his head. "Why impossible?" "Because this technology is thousands of years old at least, maybe tens of thousands. Humans were barely using stone tools back then. We couldn't have built anything like this." As Lisa studied the symbols more closely, she began to see patterns. The writing seemed to tell a story, but the language was so old and mixed that she could only understand pieces of it. What she could read made no sense. "Beware," she translated slowly. "The stars will burn. The children will return to fight the darkness. When the end comes, remember the beginning." "What do you think it means?" asked Carl. Lisa shook her head. I'm not sure. It could be a religious text or a historical record. Or maybe a warning. While Lisa worked on translating the symbols, her engineering team studied the machines. What they found was even more disturbing. The technology was not just advanced, but impossible by current human understanding of physics. The power source seemed to draw energy from space itself. The computers used quantum processing that shouldn't have worked with the materials available. Dr. Greg Walsh, the team's physicist, pulled Lisa aside after 3 days of study. We have a problem, he said quietly. What kind of problem? The dating is all wrong. Carbon analysis shows this stuff is about 12,000 years old. But the quantum signatures suggest it was built with technology that won't be invented for another 1,000 years. Lisa stared at him. That doesn't make sense. I know, but the readings don't lie. Either our dating methods are completely wrong, or this technology comes from the future. Before Lisa could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the mining station. Carl's voice came over the communication system. All personnel to the surface immediately. We have incoming ships. Lisa and Greg ran to the elevator and rode it up to the main colony. Through the windows, they could see 3 sleek ships descending from space. The ships were gray and smooth, unlike any human vessel Lisa had ever seen. Carl met them at the main building. They claimed to be a Zephyrian trade delegation, he said, but they didn't request permission to land. They just came down and started setting up some kind of equipment. Through the window, Lisa watched tall gray aliens unloading strange devices from their ships. The aliens moved quickly and efficiently, like soldiers rather than traders. I don't like this, said Greg. The timing is too convenient. We discover ancient technology and aliens show up the next day. One of the aliens approached the main building. It was Agent Vexmar, though the humans didn't know his name. He was tall and thin with gray skin and large black eyes. When he spoke, his voice was smooth and pleasant. Greetings, humans. I am here to discuss trade opportunities with your colony. We understand you have made an interesting discovery in your mining operations. Carl stepped forward. How do you know about our discovery? We haven't reported it to anyone outside Earth Command. Vexmar smiled, showing too many teeth. News travels quickly in space. We would like to offer our assistance in studying your find. Zephyrian technology is quite advanced. We could help you understand what you have discovered. Lisa felt alarm bells going off in her head. Something about this alien felt wrong. His words were friendly, but his eyes were cold and calculating. Thank you for the offer, she said carefully. But Earth Command has already sent a full research team. We don't need any assistance. Vexmar's smile faded slightly. Perhaps you misunderstand. This is not really a request. Suddenly, the lights went out in the building. Emergency power kicked in a moment later, bathing everything in red light. Through the windows, Lisa could see more aliens moving around the colony. They weren't traders, they were soldiers. Carl grabbed a communication device and tried to contact Earth Command. Nothing but static came through the speakers. They're jamming our communications, he said. Vexmar walked to the window and looked out at his troops. You have discovered something that does not belong to you, he said without turning around. We will take it now. Like hell you will, said Carl. The alien turned and looked at the miner with amusement. You are brave, human, but also foolish. We could kill all of you in minutes. Lisa stepped between Carl and the alien. What do you really want? The technology you found belongs to a dead race, Vexmar replied. It is dangerous in the wrong hands. We will take it and destroy it before it can cause harm. What harm? Asked Greg. It's just old machines. Vexmar's eyes gleamed in the red light. You understand nothing. That technology was built to fight us. It was created by enemies of the galactic hegemony thousands of years ago. We thought we had destroyed it all. Lisa felt pieces of a puzzle clicking together in her mind. "The symbols," she whispered. "They're not ancient human writing. They're future human writing." Vexmar spun around to stare at her. "What did you say?" "The technology came from the future," Lisa said, her voice growing stronger. "Humans from the future built it and somehow sent it back in time. They were preparing for a war that hasn't happened yet." The alien's face twisted with rage. "Impossible! Humans are a primitive race. You could never master time travel." "Maybe not yet," said Carl with a grin. "But apparently, we will." Vexmar pulled out a weapon that looked like a silver rod. "It does not matter. We will destroy this place and everyone in it. The technology will be buried forever." But as he raised his weapon, the lights came back on. Not the normal white lights of the colony, but the blue glow they had seen in the underground chamber. The ancient machines had awakened, and they were ready to protect themselves. Lisa smiled as she realized the truth. The warning carved in the symbols wasn't about some ancient war. It was about a war that was coming soon, and humanity was going to win. The attack came without warning on a Tuesday morning, Earth time. Admiral Helen Stone was drinking coffee in her office at Luna Command when every alarm in the facility started screaming at once. "Report!" she shouted as she ran onto the command deck. Commander Rick Martinez was already at the main display, his face pale with shock. "Ma'am, we have multiple contacts appearing throughout the system. I'm reading over 300 alien ships." Helen looked at the tactical display and felt her blood turn cold. Red dots representing enemy vessels surrounded every major human world. Earth, Mars, Europa, Titan, and dozens of outer colonies all showed massive alien fleets appearing from nowhere. "How did they get so close without detection?" she demanded. "They must have been using some kind of cloaking technology," Rick replied. "They're decloaking now and moving into attack positions." On the main screen, a transmission came through from the lead alien vessel. Admiral Krixthal's face appeared, his four arms spread wide in a gesture of triumph. "People of Earth," he said in perfect English, "your time in this galaxy has ended. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will make you suffer." Helen grabbed the communication controls. "This is Admiral Stone of the Human Defense Fleet. You are in violation of interstellar law. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Krixthal laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "What consequences, Admiral? Your tiny fleet against our armada? Look around you. We have ships at every human world. You are finished." Helen looked at the display again. The alien was right. Earth's defense fleet had maybe 50 ships. The aliens had brought over 1,000 vessels, each one larger and more powerful than anything humanity possessed. "All ships prepare for battle," she ordered. "We may not win, but we'll make them pay for every inch." At the same time, Captain Jake Morrison was flying through deep space aboard the exploration ship New Horizon. He and his crew had been mapping distant star systems for the past 6 months, far from the main trade routes. His pilot, Lucy Carter, was the first to notice something wrong. "Captain, I'm picking up massive energy signatures from the direction of Earth," she said. "It looks like weapons fire." Jake moved to the sensor station. "That can't be right. There's no war going on." But the readings were clear. Huge explosions were happening throughout human space. As they watched, the signals from Earth's communication satellites went dark one by one. "Get us back to Earth as fast as you can," Jake ordered. "That's 3 days at maximum burn," Lucy replied. "Then make it 2 days." Back at Earth, the battle was already turning into a massacre. The human ships fought bravely, but they were outnumbered 20-1. Captain Danny Foster commanded the USS Liberty, humanity's newest and most powerful warship. He watched in horror as alien dreadnoughts tore through Earth's orbital defenses like they were made of paper. "Tactical, target that lead battleship," he ordered. "Direct hit," reported Susan Lee from the weapons station. No damage to enemy vessel! Danny cursed under his breath. Their most powerful weapons couldn't even scratch the alien armor. Engineering! I need more power to the guns! Pete Collins' voice came over the intercom from the engine room. I'm giving you everything we've got, Captain. These ships are just too tough. Around Earth, city-sized alien vessels moved into position above major population centers. New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow. Each city found itself in the shadow of an enormous enemy ship. From these vessels came smaller craft that began bombing military installations and government buildings. Helen watched from Luna Command as her home world burned. Earth's atmosphere began to glow red from the fires below. Evacuation ships tried to escape, but many were shot down before they could reach space. Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from Mars and Europa, Rick reported. The colonies can't fight vessels this size. Tell them to do whatever they must to protect their people, Helen said quietly. She knew the war was already lost, but she couldn't bring herself to give the order to surrender. The USS Liberty was one of the last human ships still fighting. Captain Foster had lost half his crew, and his ship was falling apart around him. But he refused to give up. Sir, we've lost main power, Susan Lee reported. Life support is failing. Then we'll ram them, Danny said firmly. Plot a collision course with that command ship. Danny, no, came a voice from behind him. He turned to see his wife Sarah on the bridge. She was supposed to be in the evacuation. Shuttles! Sarah, what are you doing here? I couldn't leave you, she said. If this is the end, we face it together. Danny nodded and took her hand. All hands, prepare for ramming speed. The Liberty accelerated toward the alien flagship, its engines overloading and its hull beginning to crack from the strain. The alien ship tried to move away, but the human vessel was too close and moving too fast. The impact lit up space like a small sun. Both ships were destroyed instantly, taking Admiral Kriegsthahl and his command staff with them. But their sacrifice barely slowed the alien assault. Within 6 hours, Earth was in ruins. The great cities lay in smoking rubble. The oceans boiled with radiation. The home world of humanity had become a dead rock floating in space. Similar scenes played out across human territory. Mars fell next, its domed cities cracking under bombardment. Europa's ice mines were melted and flooded. One by one, the lights of human civilization went dark. On the outer colonies, people watched the news feeds in horror and despair. Many settlements surrendered immediately, hoping to save their populations. Others tried to fight, but were quickly overwhelmed. But in the deep space mining operations and frontier outposts, a different reaction was taking hold. These were tough people who had lived hard lives on the edge of known space. They had faced pirates, equipment failures, and deadly accidents. They were not easily broken. On Titan's Rest, Carl Johnson and Dr. Lisa Harper watched the news of Earth's destruction in the underground chamber. The ancient machines around them hummed with increasing energy, as if responding to the crisis. They killed everyone, Carl said, his voice thick with rage. Billions of people. Gone. Lisa was studying the glowing symbols on the walls. Since the alien attack began, more and more of the writing had become visible. She was starting to understand what it all meant. Carl, look at this, she said. The symbols are changing. New text is appearing. Carl joined her at the main console. What does it say? Lisa read slowly, translating as she went. The children have returned to the stars. The enemy reveals himself. Now the guardians awaken. The future sends aid to the past. As she spoke the words, the chamber filled with a deep thrumming sound. Machines that had been silent for thousands of years came to life. Lights raced along, the walls like living things. Deep beneath their feet, they could hear the sound of massive engines starting up. What's happening? Carl asked. I think we're about to find out what this place really is, Lisa replied. Across human space, similar awakenings were happening. On a dozen worlds, ancient installations that had been hidden for millennia began to activate. These were not ruins, left by a dead civilization. They were weapons caches and manufacturing centers, placed by humans from the future who had somehow known this day would come. Dr. Amy Rodriguez, who had been hiding in her damaged ship since escaping the alien meeting, finally managed to repair her communication system. She sent out a coded message to any human vessels that might be listening. "This is Dr. Rodriguez aboard the research vessel Pioneer. I have critical intelligence about the enemy. The attack was planned for months. This is not a random invasion. They want to destroy us completely." Her message was picked up by Jake Morrison as the New Horizon raced toward Earth. When he saw the devastation on his homeworld, he felt something break inside his chest. But he also felt something else, a cold, burning anger that demanded revenge. "Lucy, change course," he ordered. "Where to, Captain?" "Titan's Rest. If any human installation is still intact, it will be the mining colonies. We need to find other survivors and figure out how to fight back." "Captain," said his engineer, Ben Tucker, "our ship wasn't built for combat. We have survey equipment and mining tools." Jake's eyes were hard as steel. "Then we'll have to get creative." Meanwhile, Admiral Helen Stone was evacuating Luna Command as alien ships closed in on Earth's moon. She had managed to save about half of her staff and a few dozen military vessels. Not much against an alien armada, but it was a start. "Ma'am, we have a coded transmission from the outer colonies," Rick reported. "Multiple installations are reporting the discovery of advanced technology caches." Helen felt a tiny spark of hope. "What kind of technology?" "Unknown. But the reports mention weapons and manufacturing facilities that weren't there before today." Helen looked out at the ruins of Earth one last time. Her world was gone, but her people were still alive, scattered and wounded, but not defeated. "Set course for the Outer Rim," she ordered. "It's time to see what our ancestors left for us." The first phase of the war was over. Humanity had lost their homeworld and most of their fleet. Billions were dead and their civilization lay in ruins. But in the darkness between the stars, ancient machines were awakening, and the humans who survived were about to discover that. Their greatest weapon was not technology or numbers. It was the simple fact that they refused to give up. 3 months after Earth fell, Admiral Helen Stone stood in what used to be a storage asteroid and was now humanity's secret command center. They called it Haven, and it was hidden deep in the asteroid belt where alien sensors couldn't find it. The hollow rock had been turned into a military base, complete with ship repair facilities and living quarters for 5,000 survivors. "How many ships do we have operational?" Helen asked Commander Rick Martinez. Rick checked his data pad. 47 combat vessels and about 100 civilian craft. Not much against their thousands. Helen nodded grimly. 3 months of hit and run. Attacks had taught them hard lessons about fighting the aliens. Their weapons were stronger, their armor was thicker, and their ships were faster. But humans had learned to be sneaky. "What about the new project? How is Ben Tucker coming along with the captured alien technology?" "Better than expected," Rix replied. "He's managed to reverse engineer their shield generators and power systems. The first prototype ship should be ready for testing next week." Ben Tucker had become something of a legend among the survivors. The engineer had studied wreckage from destroyed alien ships and figured out how their technology worked. It wasn't easy. Alien science was thousands of years ahead of human knowledge. But Ben had a gift for seeing patterns that others missed. In his workshop deep inside Haven, Ben was working on humanity's first quantum-powered starship. It looked strange compared to normal human vessels. The hull was covered with alien technology that had been carefully removed from crashed enemy ships. Blue energy lines ran along the outside like glowing veins. "Will it work?" asked Dr. Amy. "Rodriguez." She had made it to Haven 2 weeks ago after months of hiding in deep space. Ben wiped grease from his hands. "In theory, yes. The quantum drive should give us speeds that match alien ships. The shield system will let us take hits that would have destroyed our old vessels. But there's only one way to find out for sure. Meanwhile, on Titan's Rest, Carl Johnson was discovering that the ancient underground complex was much larger than anyone had imagined. Dr. Lisa Harper had been working around the clock to translate more of the symbols carved into the walls. What she found changed everything. "Carl, you need to see this," Lisa called from the main chamber. Carl climbed down from the mining platform where he had been helping to excavate new sections of the facility. In the past 3 months, they had uncovered over 50 miles of tunnels and chambers, all filled with impossible technology. "What did you find now?" he asked. Lisa pointed to a newly revealed section of wall. The symbols here were different from the others. They glowed brighter and seemed to move when you looked at them directly. "These symbols aren't instructions or warnings," she said. "They're a manufacturing program. This whole complex is designed to build ships and weapons." "What kind of ships?" "The kind that can fight alien dreadnoughts and win." As if responding to her words, the chamber filled with a deep humming sound. Machinery that had been silent for thousands of years began to move. In the center of the room, a circular platform rose from the floor. On top of it, light began to take shape, forming the outline of a starship unlike anything humans had ever built. "Is that a blueprint?" Carl asked. "More than that," Lisa replied, studying her translation notes. "It's a construction template. The machines here can build this ship using quantum assembly. They can literally pull matter and energy from space itself and shape it into whatever they need." The ship design floating above the platform was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It was sleek and curved like a bird of prey, but covered with weapons that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Energy cannons that could tear holes in space, shields that existed in multiple dimensions, engines that could move faster than light, without using fuel. "How long would it take to build something like this?" Carl asked. Lisa consulted her notes. "According to the symbols, about 1 week per ship. But here's the amazing part. Once the first ship is built, it can help build more ships. Then those ships can build even more. The construction rate increases exponentially." Carl felt a grin spreading across his face. "So we start with 1 ship, then 2, then 4, then 8? "Exactly. Within a few months, we could have hundreds of these vessels, maybe thousands, but they weren't the only ones making discoveries. Captain Jake Morrison had been exploring the outer colonies, gathering survivors and looking for anything that could help in the fight against the aliens. On a small moon called Prospector's Point, he found something that made his blood run cold. The Bush colony had been attacked 3 weeks ago. Most of the buildings were destroyed and the population was gone. But in the ruins of the communications center, Jake found records of the colony's last days. "Lucy, you need to hear this," he called to his pilot. Lucy Carter joined him at the damaged computer terminal. Jake played back the final transmission from the colony's leader. "This is Colony Administrator Nancy Clark. The aliens have surrounded our settlement. They're not just attacking us. They're taking prisoners, loading people onto transport ships. I don't know why they want us alive, but oh God, they're breaking down the door. Tell Earth Command that they're not just conquering us. They're enslaving us." The transmission ended in screams and weapons. Fire! Jake and Lucy looked at each other in horror. "How many colonies have they hit like this?" Lucy asked. Jake checked the navigation computer. "At least 30 that we know of. If they're taking prisoners from all of them, they could have captured hundreds of thousands of people." Jake felt rage building in his chest. It was bad enough that the aliens had destroyed Earth. But taking humans as slaves was something else entirely. It made the war personal. "Set course." "For Haven," he ordered. "Admiral Stone needs to know about this." When Jake arrived at the hidden base, he found it buzzing with activity. Ben Tucker's prototype ship was ready for its first test flight, and volunteers were lining up for the dangerous mission. "I'll pilot it," said Lucy when she heard about the test. "Absolutely not," Jake replied. "We don't know if that thing will even hold together." "That's exactly why I should pilot it," Lucy argued. "I'm the best pilot we have. If anyone can handle an experimental ship, it's me." Admiral Stone made the final decision. "We need our best people for this test. Lucy, you'll pilot the ship, but you're not going alone. Take a full crew." The prototype ship, which they had named Avenger, looked strange sitting in Haven's launch bay. It was smaller than a normal human warship, but somehow seemed more dangerous. The hull was dark gray, with blue energy lines running along its surface. When the quantum engines powered up, space around the ship seemed to shimmer and bend. "All systems show green," Lucy reported from the pilot's seat. "Quantum drive is stable. Shields are at full power." "Take her out slowly," Admiral Stone ordered from the command center. "We don't know how alien technology will react to our modifications." The Avenger moved out of the launch bay and into open space. At first, everything seemed normal. Then Lucy engaged the quantum drive, and the ship simply vanished. "Where did she go?" Rick Martinez asked in panic. Before anyone could answer, the Avenger reappeared on the other side of the asteroid field. Lucy's voice came over the radio, filled with excitement. "Admiral, this thing is incredible. I just traveled 50,000 miles in 2 seconds, and I barely pushed the engines." "What about the weapon systems?" asked Ben Tucker. "Let me find a target." Lucy spotted a large asteroid about a mile away. She aimed the ship's main gun and fired. A beam of pure energy shot out, and the asteroid simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed or blown apart. It was there one moment and gone the next. "Holy hell," whispered Rick Martinez. Admiral Stone felt hope rising in her chest for the first time since Earth fell. "Lucy, bring the ship home. We have work to do." Over the next few weeks, Haven became a hive of activity. Ben Tucker worked with teams of engineers to build more ships based on the Avenger design. Each new vessel was better than the last as they learned to improve the alien technology. Meanwhile, on Titan's Rest, the ancient manufacturing complex had begun producing its own ships. Carl Johnson and Dr. Lisa Harper watched in amazement as quantum assemblers literally pulled matter from empty space and shaped it into starships. The vessels that emerged from the underground facility were even more advanced than the ones being built at Haven. "How many can this place build?" Carl asked as they watched the 10th ship take shape. Lisa consulted her growing translation of the ancient symbols. "There's no limit mentioned in the instructions. The manufacturing rate just keeps increasing as more ships come online to help with construction. Then we're going to need pilots for all these ships. Already taken care of," said a familiar voice behind them. They turned to see Jake Morrison walking into the chamber with Lucy Carter and a dozen other survivors. "Jake, how did you find this place?" Carl asked. "Dr. Rodriguez gave me the coordinates. She said you might need some help with your new fleet." Jake looked around the vast chamber in amazement. Machines worked with impossible precision, assembling starships from raw energy. The air hummed with power that seemed to come from the fabric of space itself. "This changes everything," he said quietly. "Yes, it does," agreed Lisa. "But Jake, there's something else you need to know. I've been translating more of the symbols, and I think I understand." "What happened here?" She led them to a wall covered with glowing text. "Thone year after Earth fell, Admiral Helen Stone stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, humanity's new flagship. The ship was built using technology from both Haven and Titan's Rest, combining the best of alien science with human engineering. Around her, a fleet of 200 quantum-powered vessels hung in space like dark angels waiting for battle. "All ships report ready," Commander Rick Martinez announced. Helen looked at the tactical display. Today was the day they would begin Operation Phoenix, humanity's counterattack against the galactic hegemony. Intelligence reports showed that most of the alien fleet was spread across human space, occupying conquered worlds and hunting for remaining survivors. "Begin Phase 1, Helen ordered. Across the galaxy, human ships appeared without warning near alien installations. The new quantum drives allowed them to travel instantly across vast distances, appearing inside enemy formations before the aliens could react. Captain Jake Morrison led the attack on the Zephyrian supply depot at Wolf 359. His ship, the New Horizon, had been rebuilt with the same quantum technology as the rest of the fleet. Lucy Carter sat at the pilot controls, her hands steady as they dropped out of quantum space directly above the alien base. "6 enemy ships in orbit," reported Ben Tucker from the engineering station. "They're trying to raise shields." "Too late," Jake said with grim satisfaction. "Fire all weapons." The New Horizon's quantum cannon spoke with deadly precision. The alien ships simply ceased to exist, their matter converted to energy and scattered across space. Below, the supply depot suffered the same fate. "Target destroyed," Lucy reported. "No survivors." This scene played out at dozens of locations throughout the galaxy. Human ships struck like lightning, destroying alien outposts and supply lines before vanishing back into quantum space. The aliens had no defense against enemies who could appear anywhere without warning. But the real surprise was waiting at the hegemony's main fleet base near the galactic core. General Morvac was reviewing casualty reports when his sensors detected impossible energy readings approaching his position. "What is that?" he demanded, staring at the tactical display. "Unknown, sir," replied his aide. "The energy signature doesn't match anything in our databases." "Put it on the main screen." What appeared on the display made General Morvac's blood run cold. A massive human dreadnought was approaching the base, but it wasn't like any human ship he had ever seen. This vessel was 10 miles long and covered with weapons that seemed to bend space around them. Energy flowed along its hull like living lightning. "How did the humans build something like that?" Morvac whispered. The answer came from Dr. Lisa Harper, who was aboard the ship as it approached the alien base. She had spent months working with the ancient manufacturing systems on Titan's Rest, and this vessel was the result. The machines had built it using construction templates that came from humanity's far future. "This is Dr. Harper to the alien fleet," she broadcast on all frequencies. "You have 10 minutes to surrender. Any ship that does not power down its weapons will be destroyed." General Morvac laughed, though the sound was forced. "One ship against my entire fleet? The humans have gone mad." He ordered his 1,000-ship armada to attack. The result was not what he expected. The human dreadnought didn't even slow down as alien weapons struck its shields. The quantum barriers absorbed the energy and fed it back into the ship's power systems. When the human vessel returned fire, entire squadrons of alien ships vanished in flashes of light. "Impossible," Morvac breathed as he watched his fleet being destroyed. "No technology is that powerful." But it wasn't just technology that was defeating the aliens. It was the humans who operated it. Every ship in the human fleet was crewed by survivors of the invasion, people who had lost their homes, their families, their entire world. They fought with a fury that no alien could understand or match. On the bridge of another human ship, Carl Johnson coordinated the attack on a Hrock manufacturing world. He was no longer just a miner. The ancient machines had taught him things about warfare and strategy that he never could have learned on his own. "Target their production facilities first," he ordered. "Then their command centers." The quantum weapons tore through alien defenses like they were made of paper. Within an hour, the planet's ability to produce weapons was gone forever. Meanwhile, Admiral Kriksthal was facing his own crisis aboard the remaining Zephyrian command ship. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy of human attacks that seemed impossible to stop. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked his communications officer. "Over half our fleet, sir. The humans appear and disappear before we can respond. Our weapons can't penetrate their shields." Kriksthal felt fear creeping into his thoughts for the first time in his life. "Contact the Veltari. We need their quantum computers to calculate a defense." But when the call went through, Veltari Prime had disturbing news. The crystal being's body was flickering with chaotic colors as its quantum computers ran calculations at maximum speed. "Admiral, we have a problem far worse than lost ships," Veltari Prime announced. "The humans are using weapons that tear holes in space-time itself. Each shot creates small fractures in reality." "What does that mean?" Crixthal demanded. "It means the fabric of space is being damaged. My computers calculate that if the fighting continues at this rate, the quantum tears will expand exponentially. Within months, they could tear apart the entire galaxy." Crixthal stared at the crystal being in horror. "Are you saying the humans have weapons that could destroy everything?" "Not intentionally, but yes. Their quantum cannons are causing irreversible damage to the structure of reality itself." At the same time, Dr. Amy Rodriguez was making the same discovery aboard the Phoenix. She had been monitoring the quantum signatures of the human weapons and noticed something disturbing. "Admiral Stone, we have a problem," she reported. Helen turned from the tactical display. "What kind of problem?" "Every time we fire the quantum weapons, we're creating tears in space-time. The damage is accumulating faster than the universe can repair itself." Helen felt her blood turn cold. "How long before it becomes critical?" "At current usage rates, maybe 6 months. After that, the quantum tears will start merging and expanding on their own. The entire galaxy could collapse into a space-time rift." Helen realized they had created the ultimate weapon, but it was one that could destroy them all. She opened a communication channel to all human ships. "All vessels, this is Admiral Stone. Cease firing quantum weapons immediately. We have a code red situation." But even as the human fleet stopped their attack, the damage was already spreading. In deep space, invisible cracks in reality grew larger with each passing hour. The aliens had planned humanity's end, but in trying to stop the human counterattack, they had created something far worse. 3 days later, representatives from both sides met aboard a neutral space station. Admiral Stone sat across from Admiral Crixthal, with Dr. Rodriguez and Dr. Lisa Harper flanking her. The alien delegation included General Morvac and Veltari Prime. "The situation is simple," Helen began. "Your invasion has created a temporal paradox. The quantum weapons we're using come from our own future. Every time we fire them, we risk destroying the timeline that created them." Crixthal's 4 arms gestured in confusion. "What are you saying?" Lisa Harper spoke up. "We're saying that by trying to destroy humanity, you've created the conditions that forced us to develop time travel technology. Our descendants sent weapons back through time to help us win this war. But if we use those weapons too much, we'll destroy the universe." Veltari Prime's crystals flashed with understanding. "A causal loop. The war creates the technology that ends the war, but using the technology threatens to unmake everything." "Exactly," said Dr. Rodriguez. "And there's only one solution. We need to work together to repair the quantum damage, but that means ending this war permanently." General Morvac slammed his fist on the table. "You expect us to surrender after what you've done to our fleets?" "I expect you to be smart enough to save your own lives," Helen replied calmly. "The quantum tears don't care about politics or territory. They'll destroy alien worlds just as easily as human ones." Admiral Crixthal looked at the data that Veltari Prime had compiled. The crystal being's calculations were clear. The expanding quantum rifts would reach the galactic core within months. Every world in their territory would be consumed. "What do you propose?" he asked quietly. "Complete surrender of hegemony forces," Helen said. "Return of all human prisoners, reparations for the worlds you destroyed, and joint cooperation in repairing the quantum damage. And if we refuse, then we all die when the galaxy tears itself apart." The negotiations took 3 days. In the end, the aliens had no choice. The quantum rifts were expanding too quickly to ignore. The hegemony forces laid down their weapons and submitted to human authority. 1 month later, Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of a space station orbiting the ruins of Earth. Below, massive construction ships were using quantum technology to rebuild the planet from scratch. The oceans were being restored, the continents reshaped, the atmosphere purified. "It's going to be beautiful," said Lucy Carter, joining him at the window. "Different, though," Jake replied. "Not the same world. We lost. Maybe that's for the massive alien ship appeared above Earth on a Tuesday morning without warning. The ship was bigger than any city on the planet. It was black and covered with sharp edges that looked like weapons. The ship just sat there in space, blocking, out part of the sun and casting a shadow over half of North America. People on Earth stopped what they were doing and looked up at the sky. Cars pulled over on highways. Workers came out of buildings. Children pointed from school playgrounds. Everyone knew this was not good news. The alien ship sent out a message to every radio, television, and computer on Earth. The voice that came through was cold and mechanical. It spoke in perfect English, though everyone could tell it was being translated from another language. "Humans of the third planet from your star," the voice said. "I am Admiral Crixtel of the Zephyrian hegemony. We are the rulers of this part of the galaxy. You will surrender to us in exactly 48 of your hours. If you do not surrender, we will destroy your planet and everyone on it." The message continued. "Do not think you can fight us. We have destroyed 1,000 worlds. Our weapons can crack planets in half. Your ships are toys compared to ours. Your weapons cannot hurt us. You have 2 days to give up. Use this time to say goodbye to each other." The message ended with a countdown timer that appeared on every screen on Earth. 48 hours, 47 hours and 59 minutes, 47 hours and 58 minutes. In Washington, D.C., President Jake Morrison sat in the Oval Office watching the alien message play again on the big screen. Around the table sat his top military advisors. None of them looked worried. In fact, most of them were trying not to smile. General Lisa Carter, who was in charge of all the military branches, opened a bag of popcorn and started eating it. "Mr. President," she said between bites, "did they really just give us 2 whole days? That's very nice of them." Defense Secretary Ryan Brooks pulled out his tablet and started typing. "I'm sending alerts to all our people, though I think most of them are already watching this on TV and laughing. Admiral Susan Phillips ran the Space Command, which most people on Earth didn't even know existed." She leaned back in her chair and shook her head. "These Zephyrians really didn't do their homework, did they?" President Morrison picked up his own bag of popcorn from the bowl on the table. "How long has it been since we've had visitors like this?" "About 300 years, sir," said General Carter. "Remember the Krillian Empire? They made the same mistake." "What happened to them again?" asked the president. "They're still paying us protection money," said Admiral Phillips. "Their great-great-grandchildren send us fruit baskets every Christmas." Ryan Brooks looked up from his tablet. "Sir, should I activate the welcome protocol?" "Oh, yes," said President Morrison. "Let's give our guests the full Earth experience." The truth was that Earth had been ready for something like this for a very long time. Humans had been traveling in space for over 500 years. They had colonies on Mars, mining stations on asteroids, and hidden bases throughout the solar system. Earth had been part of the galactic community for centuries, but they preferred to keep quiet about it. Most aliens thought humans were still primitive and stuck on their home planet. This was exactly what humans wanted them to think. It made life much easier when hostile aliens like the Zephyrians showed up expecting an easy conquest. The Zephyrian Admiral Crixtal stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Talon. He was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. His species had been conquering planets for thousands of years. To him, humans were just another primitive species that needed to be brought under Zephyrian control. How long until they surrender? He asked his second-in-command, Commander Velnash. "Our intelligence says they will probably give up in the first few hours," Velnash replied. "Humans are known to be cowards. They fight among themselves but run when faced with real power. Admiral Crixtall nodded. Good. I want to finish this quickly. We have 12 more planets to conquer this month. What the Zephyrians didn't know was that their intelligence was completely wrong. The information they had about humans was hundreds of years old and had been deliberately planted by human agents. Every hostile alien species in the galaxy had the same outdated files about Earth. On the bridge of the Iron Talon, the communications officer looked confused. Sir, we're getting a response from the humans. Already? Admiral Crixtall seemed surprised. They're surrendering faster than expected. No, sir, it's not a surrender. It's some kind of invitation. The message from Earth appeared on the main screen. President Morrison's face looked calm and friendly. Behind him, military officers were setting up what looked like a movie theater with comfortable chairs and big bowls of snacks. Greetings, Admiral Crixtall, President Morrison said. Thank you for your ultimatum. We appreciate the 2-day notice. That gives us plenty of time to prepare a proper welcome for you and your fleet. The president picked up a bag of popcorn and offered it toward the camera. We've prepared a little demonstration for you. We think you'll find it very educational. We've also sent you a care package with some local snacks. The popcorn is grown right here on Earth. We hope you enjoy it. The message continued. We know you've traveled a long way to visit us, so we want to make sure you get the full Earth experience. Please make yourselves comfortable. The show starts in 36 hours. Admiral Crixtall stared at the screen in confusion. What kind of response is this? Are they mocking us? Sir, said the communications officer. There's more. They've attached some kind of entertainment package and food. Food? Admiral Crixtall had never had a species offer him food before threatening to destroy them. Commander Velnash looked at his scanner. Sir, a small human ship is approaching. It's not armed. They're actually bringing us something. The small Earth. Ship docked with the Iron Talon without asking permission. The human pilot, a woman named Captain Lucy Thompson, walked onto the Zephyrian bridge carrying several large boxes. Delivery for Admiral Crixtall, she said cheerfully. Compliments of Earth. We've got popcorn, chocolate, some Earth movies, and a note from our president. The Zephyrians stood frozen, not sure what to do. No one had ever just walked onto their ship and offered them snacks. Captain Thompson set the boxes down and opened one. The smell of fresh popcorn filled the bridge. This is our kettle corn flavor, very popular. The chocolate is from Belgium. That's a country on Earth famous for making the best chocolate in the galaxy. Admiral Crixtall finally found his voice. Are you not afraid? We are here to conquer your world. Captain Thompson shrugged. Everyone's got to make a living, but since you're here, you might as well enjoy yourselves. The show our people are preparing is really something special. You won't want to miss it. She handed Admiral Crixtall the note from President Morrison. It was written in perfect Zephyrian script, which surprised him. The note read, Dear Admiral Crixtall, welcome to the Sol system. We hope your stay will be memorable. We've prepared a small demonstration of Earth's hospitality. Please enjoy the snacks and try to relax. The show starts tomorrow. P.S. If you have any dietary restrictions, please let us know. We want all our guests to be comfortable. Captain Thompson smiled at the confused aliens. If you need anything else, just call. We'll be right outside in our ship. Oh, and Admiral, you might want to watch our news channels tonight. We're doing some interesting things to get ready for tomorrow's show. She walked off the bridge, leaving behind very confused Zephyrians and the smell of popcorn. Admiral Crixtall looked at the note again, then at the boxes of food. In all his years of conquest, nothing like this had ever happened. Species either surrendered immediately or fought back desperately. They never invited him to watch a show and offered him snacks. Sir, said Commander Velnash quietly. What do we do now? Admiral Crixtall honestly didn't know, but the popcorn did smell very good.